Hey everybody, this is AYG's Alpha Team, here with another video for the Division. This is going to be my video on the 1.8 6-piece classified Nomad build. Let's get right in it. Now I got a request for this before anything else, so that's why I'm putting it out first. Again, it's going to be a full 6-piece Nomad. We're spec'd mostly into firearms, a little bit into stamina, not into electronics. So first and foremost, we're not going to be relying on our electronics at all on this build. It's going to be pure bullets and pure tank. We're going with SMGs, and let's go over the set bonus items first. So 2-piece is 15% health and kill. 3-piece grants a constant small amount of health, allowing the user to regenerate all segments of health of the health bar during combat. 4-piece, when receiving fatal damage, you are instantly healed to full health, can occur once every 4 minutes. Now the 5-piece bonus is an additional 10% health on kill with an increased amount of healing from the Nomad Resolve, so the 3-part. And Nomad Resolves will now overheal, so you get an overheal as well as just getting regular healed. And then the 6-piece is a 50% chance to have no cooldown for your Path of Nomad, so the 4-piece set bonus, no cooldown for it. Take 60% less damage for 10 seconds after the Path of Nomad is triggered. So after you get your fatal damage, they trigger the Path of Nomad, you get a damage resistance of 60% to yourself. So you're taking less damage for that first 10 seconds. And trust me, all that comes in handy when you're playing and you're face tanking. So this build isn't really out of the norm for this archetype. And especially with 1.8, since everyone else is super tanky these days, because toughness has got a huge boost from stamina, you're going to need that firepower to put people down. And that's the main gist of this whole build is maximum firepower to get the fastest time to kill. Because the time to kill now takes a little bit longer than it did in 1.7. And it's really long in general. So you need to be the first person to put people down for two main reasons. One is your whole build is based around health on kill. All your set bonuses are based around giving you health back. So nothing is actually going towards your weapons. So you need to spec into firearms in order to activate the health on kill. If you're not killing anyone, you're not getting that health back. So we spec'd into health on kill for that reason, especially when we spec'd into firearms for that reason, especially. So just common sense. Like if you're not getting kills, you're not getting that health back. So you have to get kills. How are you going to get kills? You have to hit harder than they do. You have to kill faster than they do to anybody you come across. So you would think stamina would be more important. It is actually very important. But if you can't get them down, it doesn't matter how much stamina you have. They're going to eventually get ahead of you. And every time you come across anybody who's more than just one person, you're going to have trouble. So this way, your DPS is the fastest, or one of the fastest, if not the fastest on any team, and you'll be able to put people down fast. So we spec'd all pieces of gear with the exception of one. All pieces of gear are spec'd into firearms, and then all of our mods are going to be firearms health, because we do need some toughness. We wanted to get it at least above 400, especially with the way the archetype is now. So we do have some decent amount of toughness, but we are spec'd over 9,000 into firearms. So firearms health for our mods. Our performance mods are a little less important because performance mods actually affect your skills. The ones we're using are first aid self-heal. And like I said, we're not relying on our skills at all. Like we're not using them we're using them for extra damage, but we're not reliant on them. We don't really need them. So we're not worried about skills at all with this build. It's purely firearms toughness build. So let's go over our roles. Health and health on kill. Now there's only 3 spots on your armor where you can actually get health on kill. It's your chest piece, your mask, and your gloves. Those are the 3 positions you can get health on kill. And typically, like with the 1.6 build for Nomad that I did, we did health on kill on all of them, but we're only doing health on kill on this chest piece because we need critical hit chance. Because we're not spec'd into any skills, we don't get any boosts for critical hit chance from anything like a pulse or anything like that. So we have to get it on our own from our weapons, our weapon mods, and our gear mods. Our gear attributes. So chest piece, health and kill, ammo capacity as well. This is another reason we are rolling for I mean, ammo capacity is very important on this because we don't have those skills. We don't have anything else that's giving us any extra ammo, so we need to roll health on kill. We need to roll ammo capacity as well as health on kill, and we've got health here as well. So mask is going to be critical hit chance and burn resistance. You could go with something like damage to elites if you wanted to do this more for a PvE build, but we're going with crit chance instead of crit damage because, or I'm sorry, we're going with crit chance instead of health on kill because we need to get our crit chance as high as possible to the max of 60 in order to get the most out of our weapons. So that's why we're rolling it here. Knee pads are going to be health. Now, I have blind, death resistance, increased kill XP, and bleed resistance. I would prefer something like bleed, shock, and disrupt, or bleed, shock, and blind is actually not bad too. But I mean, ideally, you don't want increased kill XP unless you're building around an XP build, which you know, why would you do that? You don't really need that anymore. And if you did, do it with high end. But yeah, health as the major attribute. Blind, bleed, and shock would be good. That's probably what I would recommend most. And our backpack is the only piece of gear we have that's spec'd for stamina, because we do need a little bit of stamina. We also have health and more ammo capacity. You could go with something like burn resistance, but again, since we're going to be so tanky, we're not going to be going down too often, so we won't be getting, you know, restocked every time we have to go down. So because of that, we're going to need as much ammo as we can carry. Now, gloves, we went with firearms, but we also went with crit chance, crit damage, and SMG damage. Now, another thing is you can roll crit damage on your backpack and your knee pads, but it's only 9%, and the percentage based on crit damage isn't as relevant as the health that you can get. And since we do need to be a little tanky, we wanted to go health on those, but this crit damage gives you 17%. That is a significant amount. We didn't want to pass that up. Also, crit chance is 6%, which is also a pretty good amount. And with the SMG damage, because again, we need all the boosts to weapon damage that we can get. So that's why we're going with all three of these. Again, we didn't roll health on kill because we need more weapon damage from our gloves. And then lastly, more crit chance on the holster. And, you know, of course, we want to get all these to 14-1 as close as possible. This is the best we could do with the rolls that we got. Now, weapons of choice are, to be honest, you could go with any weapon you wanted to. The reason we're going with SMGs is because that gives us the more... SMGs are rolled for crit chance, and again, we want to get our crit chance up to 60%. With SMGs, it's a little easier to get there. Otherwise, we'd be hanging around 40% with all of our weapons, like a 40% chance on assault rifles and everything, which is still really good. So that's why I suggest you can go with any weapon you want. I mean, all are going to be devastating with the 9,000 firearms, but with the SMGs, that gets our crits up even higher, so we can do even more crit damage. And both of our weapons are going to be rolled for responsive, hurried, and deadly. Same with the MP7, hurried, deadly, responsive, just in different order. The placement of these is irrelevant because they all use... we have 9,000 firearms, so we don't really have to worry about unlocking them because they will be unlocked. But if you're going with something like Unforgiving, you'd have to have a little bit of stamina, which we do. The only other compromise you would make is if you wanted to go with something like Competent. Competent, you need a little bit more electronics, but we didn't go with that. And we went with Deadly for obvious reasons. We want more crit damage. Responsive, again, close range, 10% boost. And we always go with Hurried on our SMGs. I recommend this in all my videos for SMGs is go with Hurried because that instant reload speed is ridiculous, down to 1 second, keeps you in the fight. If you don't have it with something like an MP7, I mean, your mag runs out super quick. It's fast firing and it has a low mag, so you kind of want to make sure you're reloading as fast as possible if you're going to be using that weapon. Same with the MP5. Just a good idea to roll it. I mean, you do have to give up a potential damage talent on your weapons, but like I said, if it keeps you in the fight a little bit longer, it actually keeps your DPS pretty high too. So that's just my recommendation. Again, go with any weapons you want. With 9,000 firearms, you're not going to have too much trouble, but this is what works for me. Also, all of our mods are going to be crit damage, with the exception of one is going to be crit chance. And with those numbers on both weapons, that's going to get us to roughly 50% crit hit chance. 50.5 crit hit chance, and which isn't the max, but it's the most we can get without super compromising our build. Crit hit damage is going to be around 100% for both, 50.5 on this Navy MP5. On our MP7, pretty much the same, exactly the same actually, 50.5 and 103 crit damage. So this is going to double, every crit we hit is going to double in damage, and our chance to crit is going to be 50%. So we're going to be doing some significant damage with our weapons, and that's the whole idea of this whole build, is doing the most damage you can to kill as fast as you can. Because again, the archetype of builds nowadays are super stamina based. The Predator's Mark and the D3 FNC all need huge stamina in order to unlock the perks. People are just running more stamina. You need to be able to put them down no matter how much stamina they have, little or a lot. So that's why we're going so far into the firearms. That's why we're built so far into, that's why all of our mods are into firearms, and that's why we're built so far into crit chance. And again, we didn't go crit damage because in this particular build, health is going to be a little bit more important than that crit damage on the backpack and the knee pads. Okay, so let's go to our skills. Now again, we're not reliant on our skills at all, but they do give us a little bit of boost. So on this particular loadout, we're going with Booster Shot as our first aid. Now it gives us a little bit of heal, which is always handy. But we're picking Booster Shot because it temporarily increases damage and damage resistance for affected targets, in addition to normal healing effects. So you heal yourself, you're going to be damage resistant, and you're going to be doing more damage. So of course, we could always use that. Now, we're not reliant on this. That's why we spec so far into crit chance, because we don't need it, but it is a helpful boost whenever we have to use it. But again, we're not reliant on our skills at all. And we're using Tactical Scanner Pulse, which will give us additional 7% crit hit chance, which gets us right around 50%, which is close to the max. But again, we don't need it. We don't have to rely on it. That's the number one thing about this build, is we didn't spec anything in the skill power, so we can't rely on our skills at all. We need to be able to fight without them. That's why we're getting health from our health on kill, and that's why we're getting damage from our 9,000 firearms. So we don't really need our skills, but it is always handy to have them, just in case you might come across a situation where you could use them. Talents, we are going with Critical Save, using Medkit during low health, increases damage resistance by 20%, always handy. Combat Medic, because we do want to help our team out a little bit. Triage, healing out of the skill reduces skill cooldowns. Now, like I said, we're not really worried about our skills. You could swap this out for something else, but this is still handy whenever you're fighting with a team. And Adrenaline. Now, this is a really handy one now. With the medkit, now gives you 7 seconds of immunity for status effects. So if you come across like a fire turret and you want to, they pop it right out, you can pop the medkit before you even see it. Hit the medkit, come around the corner. You won't be ruined by the burn. You can take down that turret and take out the enemy as fast as possible. Or, once you start getting hit by it, you pop it and you'll be able to withstand that fire for a long enough time to take out the turret. So it's always a good thing to have. Whenever you're coming across a shock turret or anything like that, just pop that medkit and you'll be immune, so you could take out the turret and then the enemy, or vice versa. You have a good 7 seconds. It's definitely worth it. Definitely recommend it for this build. And let's go over our character stats for our overall stats, so you guys can check it out. Firearms, 9,000. Stamina, 41. We got a decent amount of stamina out of this, but also we rolled for so much health that it gets us up to 441, which is really good. Weapon damage is over 20,000, which is phenomenal, which is exactly what we want. Crit chances at 50%. I wish this could be higher. The only way we'd be able to roll it higher, we could get it up to 60%, but then also we would lose. That would drop us down to about 75% crit hit damage, and we don't want that. We do want to be at least over 100%. Headshot damage at 55%, which isn't too bad since we didn't spec into it at all. Accuracy, range is okay. Reload time is irrelevant because we're using Hurried on both weapons. And health on kill is at 30%. Now this could get all the way up to 46% if you want. If you rolled health on kill on all your weapons, or if you rolled health on kill on all your gear where you could, and you had sustained on your weapon, you could get this up to 46%. So if you were so inclined, you could do that. But it was at too much cost for crit hit chance. That's why we went with this 30%, and that's why we went with so much into crit hit chance. Increased threat because we're using muzzles, or vent brakes rather. Skills are irrelevant. Toughness is at 41. Max health is at almost 300,000. Armor's over 32%, which is good. Health regen is a little low, but again, our toughness isn't very high, so I can't really expect that to be any higher. Bleed is decent. Blind is decent. Burn is low. Wish that was higher. And the rest of these are irrelevant. Alright guys, let's get into some gameplay. Got a couple of tips for you guys when running this Nomad. Tip number 1, prepare for the chase, because they will run for you. What I mean is, 9 times out of 10, once you start engaging in combat with someone, they are going to realize that they're a little bit outgunned, and they're just going to take off running. So you got to kind of adjust your gameplay for not just, face tanking, but you're going to have to provide some fire for a chase. Like right here, start shooting this guy, he just takes off. I gotta stop shooting, kind of reposition myself, and it's gonna be constantly that until you actually catch up with him. And you also have to prepare for the fact that he might try, like your players might try and ambush you. Like right here, he was looking for some backup, got outgunned again. Now he has no choice but try to run, gets overwhelmed. It's gonna happen a lot. You're gonna come across situations where you're in a group setting, you're gonna be firing, they're gonna realize what's going on, they're gonna back off, try and team fire you, which is, not necessarily a commentary on their gameplay, but more of the fact that they're just trying to play smarter. So right here, my buddy takes off, I want to back him up. These guys take off to chase him down. I get myself back in the fight, get a little heal there, and we're able to take him down. It just makes good sense to try and run away from someone who's going to outgun you. Just keep that in mind. Next tip is going to be finish your kills if you want to get that health and kill. Otherwise, it does not proc. So with the health and kill attribute, you have to actually finish the guy in order to get the health and kill. So if you kill him and drop him, he's not going to give you that health and kill until you finish him. So you can see right here, this guy lays into me. I take him out, but look at my power. It doesn't go back up because I didn't finish him. And it would have given me some much needed health right here in this situation. And again, I got to start chasing this guy. But here's an example of how it works. So spot this guy trying to hide, we trade, do some sloppy gun work. Eventually, I get him down. You can see after I finish him, he's down, and now I finish him, health comes in. So you just always got to make sure that you're finishing your kills if you want to get that health. Now there will be scenarios like this one where I don't necessarily need it, so I don't have to finish him. So I took this guy out, but I haven't taken any damage. So I just keep moving on to the next guy. And this is also just a testament on the firearm itself. This guy goes down, and then this third guy goes down. But I didn't finish any of them, so they are able to res themselves. So even if you don't really necessarily need the health, you might want to just take care of them, especially if they're sitting in a support station, just to be a better team player. And right there, you see I got the health back. But again, it really is just up to you. But if you are, it's always just a good idea, just finish the guys that you take out. Unless you just want to be a jerk. But those are the only 2 tips I really got, guys. So there's that popping that med kit, showing that in action right there. You can see I was able to take out that turret. But I'm gonna let these play out, and I will see you guys at the end of the video. That is the classified 6-piece Nomad build, guys. Super tanky. You have ridiculous firearms. It's always going to be on par or better than everyone else in the game. And don't forget to finish your kills in order to get that health on kill. So go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more from rugaming.com. Also, shoot us a comment if you have any questions, you want to give us any feedback. It's always appreciated. Until then, go ahead. Game on.
Game on! Yeah, game on!